Well, good morning, Southern Oregon, and welcome back to the Real Estate Show. I'm Alice Lima. I'm a broker here in beautiful Southern Oregon with John L. Scott Real Estate and your host of the show. And today we have the good fortune to interview Lisa Justason from Fidelity Home Warranty. Lisa comes on the show a couple times a year and talks to us about not only what a home warranty is, why it's important, what you can expect from a home warranty, what it doesn't cover, and some of the new things that Fidelity Home Warranty has added recently. So we always have a good time when Lisa comes on the show, and she'll be coming into the studio shortly. In the meantime, like we do at the beginning of every show, we check in with all three of our Southern Oregon counties to talk about what's going on in the housing market. So this week, Jackson County prices year over year in the residential market are up a shocking 25%. The average single family home in Jackson County this week was selling for $594,338. The number of solds year over year in Jackson County in the residential market were down, however, 28% this week. We only had 37 closings. The number of listings year over year in Jackson County were up 9%. Yay. We had 776 active listings in Jackson County this week for residential on SOMLS. Josephine County prices year over year were up 51% this week. The average single family home in Josephine County this week selling for $568,446. The number of sold year over year were down 40% this week in the residential market. We had 13 closings in Josephine County on SOMLS this week in the residential market. Klamath County prices year over year were up 26% this week in the residential market. The average single family home in Klamath County this week selling for $389,636. The number of solds year over year in Klamath County were down 8% this week in the residential market. We had 11 closings on SOMLS in Klamath County this week for residential sales. The number of listings year over year in Klamath County were up 18%. In the residential market, we had 287 active listings in Klamath County this week in the residential market. So folks, you can see we still have some volatility, but we're going in the right direction. And these numbers are micro movements. We want to remind you, we check this week to week, but this week, all three counties were up in price. We don't see that all the time. The number of solds, all three counties were down, and the number of listings, all three counties were up. It doesn't happen that way very often, but it starts making you think that we have a trend forming, which would be wonderful. We don't report on the other parts of the real estate market, just the residential. We only have a few minutes to talk about it every week on the real estate show, but that gets you a ballpark of what you can expect. Please contact your local real estate professional to get up to the minute information on your particular neighborhood. Now let's say hi to Lisa. Well, Lisa, thank you so much for joining us again.
Absolutely. I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to speak with you guys again.
Well, you're always one of my favorite guests. And Fidelity National Home Warranty is a really amazing company. Can we start just by talking a little bit about the company and what a home warranty is?
Absolutely. So Fidelity National Home Warranty is under the umbrella of Fidelity National Financial, which has been around for a few hundred years. We're a Fortune 500 company, and I'm really actually very proud to be a part of that team because overall we do a really exceptional job in providing service with what the home warranty piece does, which is what I do. We provide home warranties for properties, whether they're purchases, whether they're listings, or just existing homeowners wanting to have their homes covered with the home warranty.
Well, that's very exciting. What's the difference between a home warranty and your regular insurance?
That's an awesome question. There's significant differences, but a lot of the time will work in conjunction with each other.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, your homeowner's insurance is there for damage caused by, could be a number of things, right? Natural disasters, but also if your water heater fails and you're out of town and it destroys your floors, they'll of course step in and make those repairs to your flooring, but they won't do anything about your water heater. We, on the
Gotcha.
other hand, cover those everyday systems and appliances, your air conditioner, your water heater, those appliances, electrical, the things that you need to have your home function. That's where we step in and we'll take care of those things.
So one of the fun things that I really like about your home warranty is that um, it also can cover inside electric or inside plumbing.
Absolutely. Because that's a major component to helping your home function, right? So we do cover those things. We actually even, and this is unique to Fidelity, we do have some coverage that will even go outside the foundation.
Oh,
So
really?
if you're having a plumbing problem outside the foundation, which is typically not covered by home warranty, we do have that as an option that you can choose.
Wow, that's super cool.
Yeah.
Um, well, let's keep talking about the inside first, because that's more what people are used to, but I want to definitely loop back to what you're doing outside, because that's great news.
Yeah.
So when somebody has an issue, let's say their dishwasher breaks, what's the procedure at that point?
So what they want to do, they do not call their own person, they call us. We have our contracted local technicians. We will dispatch them. The homeowner, there is a service fee that the homeowners will pay. It's sort of like your co-payment or your deductible. And then the technician will go out there, evaluate what the problem is. If we can repair it, we're going to repair it. If it cannot be repaired, we replace it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if the dishwasher isn't working and he can't repair it, you get a new dishwasher?
You do get a new dishwasher. And in that case, what we'll do is we'll let the homeowner decide. Do you want us to replace? And we'll give them an option. Usually from Lowe's, we work with Lowe's quite a bit.
Oh, that's good.
GE services. But also we'll allow them to choose their own. We can cash them out and they can put that towards whatever they want.
So does that mean you get a choice to either have the new dishwasher installed or you just give the homeowner the money?
That's exactly right. And that's the
Wow.
case regardless of whether it's an appliance, it could be a plumbing problem, whatever their air conditioner. So
Wow. I just got to absorb that. Well, that's really, really cool. So you cover, you said hot water heaters, dishwashers, stoves.
right, we'll cover your range hood, so your vents, whether
Oh,
they be an
nice.
attic fan, your bathroom exhaust fans, that falls under the electrical. Of course, outlets, ceiling
Really?
fans, your electrical panel, breakers, those are all covered.
Wow. That's way.
Also, oh, I don't mean to interrupt, I
No, no, you
apologize.
go, you go.
But a lot of times people don't realize, but your garage door opener is also part of the coverage.
Interesting. Interesting. So that just, brings up a lot more questions. So on the attic fan and the exhaust fans in your bathrooms
Mhm.
and laundry room, I presume that all.
Yes.
Mhm. So sometimes those are part of the roofing system,
Well,
right?
I mean, they can be, but usually the the issues are not connected.
Uh-huh.
You can have more than one issue. You can have a roof issue and also have, one of this electrical issues. Keep in mind that the home warranty covers for things that fail due to normal wear and tear.
Aha.
So what that means is just from regular use, as it gets used and it ages, it stops working. So if you were to have, as an example, a roof leak that affected the electrical, that's not normal wear and tear. That's something
Okay.
beyond that. So home warranty companies don't cover for that. It doesn't happen very often, but it does happen.
Okay. Well, that's a good good thing to know the difference. So the roof usually is covered by your homeowner's insurance, but is there anything that Fidelity gets involved with in those bigger systems?
You know, that's a great question. We do offer roof leak coverage, but I will be honest, I love my company. We have the most complete coverage available, but there is no home warranty company, in my personal view, in my 20 years of experience, that offers roof leak coverage that's good enough to purchase within the home warranty. It's limited. We call it limited. And that's across the board with any home warranty company out there. So truly what I recommend is, rather than purchasing the home warranty coverage on that roof, get a roof certification. Use your money to
Great idea. We're
right?
talking to Lisa Justason from Fidelity Home Warranty. We're going to have to take a quick break, but we'll be right back with more good ideas from Lisa of Fidelity Home Warranty. We are going to say thank you to our sponsors, John L. Scott, Ashland, and Medford, Guy Giles Mutual Mortgage, and our local Rogue Valley Association of Realtors. We'll be right back. Well, welcome back to the Real Estate Show, folks. I'm Alice Lima. My guest today is Lisa Justason from Fidelity National Home Warranty, one of our favorite people to talk to. Welcome back to the show, Lisa.
Thank you so much, Alice. I am thrilled to be back with you guys.
Well, we always learn a ton and already have, and we've only had you for a few minutes. Right before we had to go to commercial break, we were kind of talking about what a home warranty is and some of the things that it does and some of the things it doesn't do.
Yes, absolutely. So we do cover those everyday issues. You wake up and you have no hot water. No one likes that. That's not fun. Taking a cold shower is never a good thing. So, we cover the hot water heaters, we cover, plumbing stoppages, plumbing leaks, faucets, all that good stuff when it comes to the plumbing.
Yeah, it's really quite extensive. I'm surprised actually.
It really is, and a lot of people don't realize that. Just to give you a little backstory, I've been in the business about 20 years, and I got introduced into the home warranty because I was a homeowner. We had purchased our home. We'd only been in it a few weeks. And I stepped down into my living room and my carpet was sopping wet, which
Oh
told
no.
me I had a massive plumbing leak. I had no memory of my realtor letting me know that I had a home warranty. So in a panic, I contacted my realtor, and thankfully he talked me off the ledge. He reminded me I have a home warranty. Anyways, long story short, they fixed that plumbing leak. And in the few years we owned that home, they replaced my HVAC system, my water heater, my pool pump, some attic fans. And so even though I'd never been in sales prior, when the job opportunity came around, I thought, that's something I do believe in, because they saved us, I don't know, $10,000 probably.
Yeah, at least.
Um, so, and at that time, so the reason why I like to share that is because when I'm speaking with homeowners, I do appreciate that a lot of the time they're in an emotional situation. They're not always thinking, oh, my paperwork's over here and my realtor told me this, because I know what that feeling is like. And so I like to help them navigate through those situations and get them taken care of.
Wow. Wow. So, gosh, there's about three things I wanted to ask you just on that one story. HVAC, what is it that Fidelity Home Warranty does with HVAC units? That would be your heater and your air conditioner.
Yes. And so with Fidelity, again, we'll go out, we'll make repairs. If it cannot be repaired, we will replace it. And of
Wow.
course, we replace it with the mandated SEER standard, which is going to be, your higher efficiency system. Um, there are sometimes out-of-pocket costs, but that varies and it's minimal in comparison. So as an example, and this is just an example because every home is unique, if the old system is sitting on a stand and that stand won't work for the new unit,
Uh-huh.
the homeowner is responsible for purchasing the new stand.
Interesting.
So, there are real intricate details when we're talking HVAC system, but we pay, and this is not the case for all home warranty companies. So I do recommend for anyone listening that you do your homework. You want to know the company that you're going to choose to work with. Although cost is important, it's not the most important because you truly do get what you pay for. Because the changes in coverage are drastically different depending on the company. So having said that, with Fidelity, we pay 100% of the refrigerant, which has gotten very expensive. Some companies don't pay any of it. Some pay $10 a pound. It's about $130 right now per pound. We pay 100%
Wow.
of that. We haul away the old unit. We, pay for the install, the unit itself. So it's a great, great protection.
Well, so I'm just blown away because a new air conditioner could be thousands and thousands of dollars.
It can be, but the beauty of it when you're working with Fidelity Home Warranty, and this, I don't ever really like to give a sales pitch, but it's just a factual statement. We buy in bulk through the manufacturers.
Oh, that is so
So
smart.
yeah, we're able to get such significant discounts because we do it that way. We are able to keep our prices affordable. So on a retail basis, you may be charged $10,000 to $14,000. We are charged significantly less than that because we purchase in bulk.
Oh, that is wonderful. That
Yeah.
really is wonderful. So, during the break, we were talking a little bit about how likely it is something's going to break, and you said you had some statistics about that.
Yeah, and these were actually taken a couple of years ago. And I was a little bit surprised, but not really because of what I see throughout the years.
Mm-hmm.
But in any given year, you've got a 70% chance of failure in your home, whether that's an
70,
appliance,
70.
7-0 in any given
Wow.
year. And partly that's because they just don't make things like they used to, right? We know that. So on average, a lifespan of a system or an appliance is between 7 and 13 years. So that's, that includes your HVAC system. So HVAC systems, we know the older ones, they just, again, don't make things like they used to. So sometimes if you're purchasing a home, buyers are hesitant because they don't want to purchase a home with an older system. But I'm here to tell you, as long as it's functioning properly and it's doing the job it was intended to do, don't mess with it. Because it's more likely that that older system is going to do you better than even a newer system.
Wow. Well, that's certainly good to know because people do wonder about that, and the timelines that you just spoke about for equipment, up to 13 years. That's significantly less than what we're used to with the older systems.
Absolutely. And the costs, we all know costs have gone crazy high in just the last 2 years, 3 years. Appliances, as an example, have doubled. So it's
Wow.
really, really, on average, like as an example, we used to pay between $1,200 and $1,500 for a water heater replacement. Now it's not uncommon to be well over $2,000 just
For
for
a
a
hot
water
water
heater.
heater?
Mhm.
Wow.
Because there's a lot of federal mandates too that there didn't used to be. So like hauling away the old one, it has to be disposed of properly. And there's just a lot of moving parts that there didn't used to be, which of course increases the cost.
Gotcha. Okay. Wow. So we'll have to dive into that a little bit more, but I want to make sure we cover some more of these statistics that you have. Um, Do we know if the new appliances are not lasting as long? What about refrigerators? Is that something that you can cover, or washing machines?
Absolutely. We cover them all the time. As a matter of fact, when I am working with my realtor clients, I remind them that if the sale is coming with those additional appliances, they're not automatically covered because they're not considered built in. They're considered personal property. So
Gotcha.
you always want to add those. We have the coverage, but you have to make sure they are included in when you're ordering the home warranty.
Okay. So a lot of those appliances, like we were talking about just a minute ago, are older. Does Fidelity National Home Warranty have an issue with putting a policy on an older appliance?
Absolutely not, because as I said, we don't age discriminate. We we know some things are finer like wine. And so we don't, although, the risk is a little higher that it is going to fail, but it's really not that much higher because just as a private point, I've got a refrigerator that's probably 40 years old in my garage. I've had to
Uh-huh.
replace my home's refrigerator 3 times. So again, they just don't make things like they used to, and we don't discriminate, and we don't reduce what will pay out on a replacement just because it's older.
Oh, well, that's good to know. That's very good. Because sometimes the refrigerators, especially when they have ice makers, you're talking about a hot water heater leaking while you're on vacation. It's either that or it's the hose on the back of the refrigerator that leaks and it ruins your floor.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty common. Um, do we have any other extra cost options that can be added on besides washer, dryer, and refrigerator?
Absolutely. So if you've got a swimming pool or a spa,
Really?
we have coverage for the equipment of those. And again, like in my own personal case, they replaced my pool pump, my pool filter. So that cost us saved us a few $1,000s, and that was back in the day. I strongly recommend if the property is on a well or a septic, we have coverage for those. So I definitely encourage that if you're dealing with a property that has those, that you get those covered.
Wow. Well, we're going to have to take a quick break. We're talking to Lisa Justason from Fidelity National Home Warranty, getting lots of good tips and information. We're going to have to say thank you to our sponsors real quick, and then we'll be right back with more of Lisa Justason from Fidelity National Home Warranty and lots of great tips. Don't go away. Well, hey, Southern Oregon, welcome back to the Real Estate Show. I just want to remind you that the show will be repeated tomorrow, Sunday at 8 a.m. You can listen to all the great tips from Lisa Justason from Fidelity National Home Warranty, who was our guest today. And that's on our new Radio Home 1300 AM, the ACE. We're really enjoying being here. And let's get back with Lisa. Right before the break, Lisa, we were talking about some of the extra appliances that sometimes get written into a real estate transaction, like refrigerators and washers and dryers, and that those can be covered. And then you were just beginning to talk about some of the extra things that can be covered for a fee.
Absolutely. And so as I mentioned, your well pump, your septic, your swimming pool or spa equipment, those are all things that can be covered. We also have coverage, and these are fairly new. If you want to have tune-ups, so twice a year for your HVAC system, we will go out and do a tune-up in the spring and then again in the fall to make sure the system is functioning properly. And that way, if there is a situation that needs to be addressed, we can do that before it hits that peak season, 100 degrees, right? You never want that to happen. We also, and that's a nominal fee. It's $25 that you would need to add to the policy. We have a water heater tune-up also. And I strongly recommend if you're dealing with a property that has a tankless water heater, it's especially beneficial in those situations because tankless water heaters, I learned myself personally, have to be descaled. And that needs to
Oh,
be done by a licensed plumber.
what does that mean, descaled?
Well, it just because the buildup gets in that system, more than likely it's because it's a smaller system. It needs to be descaled and there's valves that need to be replaced, which is not the case in a traditional water heater. Although the tune-up does apply also to the traditional, which really does lengthen the life of your water heater. And that's an additional $20 onto the policy. So we're not talking a lot of money, but I do feel that it's a lot of benefit for that. We also created a garage door tune-up. So we'll go out, we'll grease the tracks, balance the door, make sure that the safety mechanisms are functioning properly. So those are things, and that's kind of unique to Fidelity because home warranty companies don't usually proactively do things like that. But we saw the need for that, and so we created those.
Wow, that is super cool. So twice a year, you can have your HVAC system, your hot water heater, and your garage door looked at by a trained professional from the home warranty company, Fidelity.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow, that is super great. Can those be added on after you buy the house?
That's a great question, Alice. You can add any coverage or change your coverage within 30 days after it's been purchased. And the reason why we have that limitation is because we are governed by the Department of Insurance and we charge for 12 months of coverage. And there's really no way for us to prorate that per day. So because we're charging for 12 months of coverage, we have to provide 12 months of coverage. So that's why there's that window of the 30 days. But when you're up for renewal, which most of my homeowners do renew, I've got about a 90% renewal rate. When they're up for renewal, then they can again make those changes.
Well, I'm not surprised your renewal rate is so high.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, this is really, really cool. So if you're doing tune-ups and you discover something's wrong, what does the technician do at that point?
Well, they notify us and then we set up an actual claim for the repair. So then he'll address whatever is needed to make that repair.
Yeah, and then you can avoid an emergency.
Absolutely. Like I said, we're getting into the warmer months here. I always say 'tis the season because I know my phone starts ringing because people are conditioning, and that's a super important thing to have this time of year.
Yeah, for sure. So, as you're talking, I'm adding up some of the cost savings from these different add-ons, and it makes me start to wonder about landlords. Like,
That's
how does this work with a rental?
Great question. It really works exactly the same. The only difference is if you're working with a property management company, we would, if you want us to work with them, then we'll need to know their contact information, or your mailing address because it's going to be separate from your investment property address. If you are an investor and you have 5 or more properties warrantied with us, then we do give an investor discount on each warranty.
That's great.
Yeah.
So what's the average response time? Do you know that? Like if your hot water heater breaks, you don't have any water, does it take very long for somebody to come out and look at it?
It usually does not. Our vendors are usually very responsive. I will say though that in peak season, if there is a delay that seems to be an unreasonable delay, that's where I step in or my company, if the homeowner calls our company and says, I can't wait that long, then we give them alternative options. Or if I get involved, of course, then I'll make sure that gets streamlined.
But I think a lot of us understand, if your furnace goes out in the dead of winter, there's a longer list because everybody's furnace goes out.
Exactly.
Oh, but that's where this idea of the tune-ups comes in really handy. I really like this. And you're saying it's only $25 extra?
Yep, for the AC, and then it's $20 for the water heater and $15 for the garage door opener.
Wow, that's so worth it because that's not by month, that's a year, right?
Exactly, right.
Wow, what a good deal. What a good deal. So, is that something, those tune-ups, can those be set up ahead of time every year so you don't have to think about it? The guy just comes, or the girl. Sorry.
That's okay. You know, we can't proactively schedule for something like that. But we do give the homeowners a window, so they, as long as they contact us within that window, then we can get it dispatched for them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, what a great idea. So what are some of the common mishaps, besides hot water heaters and dishwashers? What are the other kinds of situations that you see on a regular basis that the home warranty comes in handy for?
Well, again, it could be anything from a plumbing stoppage, which is very common when a new homeowner is just moving in. For whatever reason, sometimes the plumbing system just, responds poorly to having a new family in the home. So plumbing
Oh,
stoppage, plumbing leaks, whether they're under the house or under the sink, those are covered. But the biggest ticket items that we see are, of course, the HVAC. And then second really is the appliances and then plumbing.
wow. Because I would think plumbing would be a bigger problem more often.
Well, when it may be more common, but honestly, they run neck and neck. And
Hmm.
because appliances have gotten so expensive, the cost is about, just a little more for the appliances.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense.
And on
Uh,
average, our homeowners will use their home warranty twice a year. And this is, of course, an average, but those repairs on average cost about $1,300. So things that, like I
wow.
had mentioned, have gone up so much that it really does benefit the homeowner to have a home warranty.
Yes, well, I'm a really big fan, and I think we've only had one person say no, I don't want that, and then their HVAC went out.
Mm.
So, yeah, so we tell that story when we're buying and selling houses. Speaking of selling, and we only have about a minute before we have to go to another break, so we might have to finish this question up on the other side. Um, how does a home warranty work when you're listing your house for sale?
Great question. As a listing agent, you can let your seller know that they can, or you can, as a part of your service, protect them by putting a home warranty in place. And as long as you've got an active listing agreement, we'll cover that home, and it goes for 180 days or until the home closes escrow, then transitions for the buyer.
Okay. And are there special fees for that, for the putting it on a listing?
In the state of Oregon, there is no cost unless you want to include the HVAC. If you want to include the HVAC, there's an $80 fee, but even that does not get paid upfront. It only gets paid at the close of escrow if it closes escrow.
So, Lisa, are you saying that the sellers don't have to pay for their warranty?
That is what I'm saying.
Wow. Well, folks,
At the close of escrow, when they do close, and many times they do purchase the buyer's warranty, which there's benefits to them. But there is that if they want their HVAC included, there is an additional $80 charge, not
got it.
charged
We got to
upfront.
go to commercial break real quick. We'll be right back. Well, welcome back to the Real Estate Show, folks. We're talking to Lisa Justason from Fidelity National Home Warranty. And we just got a great piece of information from Lisa about sellers not having to pay for their home warranty while they're selling their house. And then we had to go to commercial break. So Lisa, can you say that again?
Absolutely. So the way that your seller's coverage works, you can, as the realtor, order it as soon as you have a listing agreement. And I strongly recommend that you do that. That property and your seller is covered without any out-of-pocket cost upfront from the day you order it for 180 days or until it closes escrow, which it usually, of course, doesn't take 180 days. But once it does close escrow, it will transition into the buyer's warranty. So it does work in conjunction with the buyer's warranty. Once it closes escrow and it transitions into the buyer's warranty, that's when it gets paid for. The buyer's warranty gets paid for, and then if you've chosen to cover your seller's HVAC, that gets paid at the same time. Now,
Okay.
if for some reason they pull it off the market, they change their mind, then nobody pays for it. It just goes away.
Okay. Okay. Well, that doesn't happen too often though. When people go to
Right,
the trouble to put their house on the market, they frequently mean it.
exactly. Right. But on the off chance, I do get asked because no one wants to have to pay out of pocket for something they're not going to end up keeping.
Right, right. Well, that makes sense. Although it would be a good idea for them to keep a home warranty, even if they decide not to sell their house after.
Oh, I
Oh, and the
absolutely
coverage
agree.
is the same. Oh, I'm sorry.
I just said I absolutely agree.
Yeah, and the coverage is the same for the seller.
With Fidelity, now this again is changes significantly depending on the company. We do have all the same coverage with two exceptions. One is with the air conditioning unit is limited to $1,500, and the heat exchanger is limited to $500.
That's
So
what the payout would be.
that's what the payout would be. But I can tell you that just I'm dealing with two right now where their homes are on the market, they're not even in contract, and they need those major repairs. The sellers are thrilled because we cut them a $1,500 check just because they hired the right realtor.
Wow, that is so exciting.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I,
and it's almost like the house knows it's getting sold.
yeah,
And everything was fine until you put that sign in your yard. All of a sudden, the house groans a little
I can't
bit.
tell you how many times I had one not that long ago in Ashland where 2 days prior to close of escrow, the buyer and buyer agent goes do their final walkthrough and discovered that the water heater had completely failed and needed to be replaced. Well, because they had our seller's coverage in place, initially they were panicking, but then they realized that they had this, and we went out, we replaced the water heater, everybody was happy, they closed on time. So it does save deals, it protects the sellers, it protects the buyers. It's just, of course, a good idea, I think.
Yeah, yeah. And they are transferable. Can you talk about that a little bit of how it goes from the seller to the buyer?
So that's automatic, right? Because you can't have, in the case of seller's policy, you can't order one without also ordering the other. So we just know, okay, so you've listed the property. Once you get into contract, you update us or me with the escrow and buyer information, then we'll send the invoice to escrow. So that's just an automatic. Once it closes escrow, it goes right into the 1 or 2 year policy, depending on what the buyer chose.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that is so exciting. So let me loop back and ask the same question about selling uh rentals, but like if you're selling a duplex or a triplex, how does that work?
Well, that's a good question too. I'm glad you're asking it because the seller's coverage is limited to single family dwellings.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
But you could buy a seller policy, I would assume.
You could purchase a home warranty, just anybody can purchase a home warranty at any time and then have that covered. And then that would be transferable once it does sell to the new buyer.
Mm-hmm. So for investors, this is particularly intriguing because if you have several properties and Lisa, you're saying that the average home needs approximately $1,300 worth of repairs every year, that can add up year after year, especially if you have multiple properties.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So when you're working with property management companies, who calls you? The tenant, the property manager, or the homeowner? How does that all work?
That's really up to the property owner who they want to have us communicate with. They let us know,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll just, accommodate whatever their wishes are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, in a big emergency, like I don't have hot water or heat, I would vote the tenant gets to call you directly.
That would save time for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it sure would. It sure would. Well, I'll definitely talk to my investors about that. Um, so we didn't really get to talk too much about outside the house yet, and we only have about 5 minutes left. Um, what kinds of options does Fidelity National Home Warranty offer for outside the house?
Well, it's just our enhanced plumbing coverage. And so what it does is it doubles the coverage for inside the home and then extends the coverage to outside the home. Now, this is not going to cover, your landscaping system. It is intended for the home, right? So whether you've got um, a plumbing problem or a sewer problem, any of that, there is $1,000 cap to the coverage. But I can tell you it has helped immensely for my homeowners that have chosen to have that coverage, especially on older properties. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah. So you mentioned sewer coverage. What is that?
Well, it's a part of your plumbing. So if you've got your sewer line, if there's a problem that's outside the foundation of the home, if there's a break or something, then typically that's not covered because it's outside the home. If you have this additional coverage, then you've got that $1,000 of coverage to go towards that.
Well, and in those moments, $1,000 is meaningful because those are really pricey repairs.
Absolutely.
So those would be in town. We're talking about like sewer pipes in town.
Yeah, well, it doesn't really matter to us if it's a rural property or if it's in town. If they choose that additional coverage, they're going to have that additional coverage. If we're talking a rural property, and we talked about it briefly, but if it's on a septic, we do offer septic coverage. Keep in mind, though, that that's not going to cover anything having to do with their leach fields. That's just the system itself. So the tank, the aerobic pump, the line from the house to the tank. But again, and it also covers a one-time pumping. So if the
Oh, it
tank needs to
does?
it does, yeah. So if the tank needs to be pumped in order to make a repair or whatever, then we will do that as well.
Wow, that's great. You don't happen to know how much extra the septic add-on is, do you?
I believe it's $90.
Okay, and that's a year.
Yes.
Yeah, see, I just think that's a bargain.
Yeah, it's definitely beneficial. Again, it's not going to, because I do get asked, so it's not dealing with your leach fields or anything, big like that, but it does definitely handle that septic system in the
Mm-hmm.
tank.
Mm-hmm. Well, every little bit helps. And you're local. You're here in very close to Southern Oregon. You are in Medford and Grants Pass a lot. We see you all the time.
Yeah. Well, I recently, I lived in Eagle Point. We have family up there, and then we just moved down the hill to Northern California. So I'm up there all the time. It's my people are there, and I love our community there.
Yeah, well, we really appreciate you. You're a hard worker and you have a great product with Fidelity National Home Warranty. If people want to get a hold of you directly, what's a good phone number and what's a good email?
I appreciate that. So my phone number, I do have an 800. I don't appreciate giving that out because I just prefer my cell phone. It's a more direct way of reaching me. And that's 530-440-9376. And then my email is it's my name, Lisa.Justason, Justason, at FNF, FrankNancyFrank.com.
And folks, she does answer her phone, and if you want to text her, she'll answer your text. Very, very easy to get a hold of.
Thank you, Alice.
So just to recap, if somebody's, especially if they're a first-time home buyer, what policy would you recommend and how many add-ons in just the few seconds we have left? Just like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in town, 1,600 square foot house.
Our standard is our comprehensive plus, but I personally think you should always have your refrigerator, washer, dryer as part of that, even if they're bringing their existing ones with them. So that's our enhanced policy. That's $610. And it covers all of the things that we spoke about.
And a lot of times your agent can negotiate the seller to pay for that.
Absolutely. And as a side point, that benefits the seller when they do that. There was a study done that shows when a seller offers the warranty, they sell their home, excuse me, their home for $2,300 more. and 16% faster.
Wow. Well, Lisa, thank you for joining us. We're going to have you back. Folks, we're out of time. We'll see you next week. Have a great Southern Oregon weekend. Bye now.
Bye-bye.